There we go.
Let's go. Okay. So thank you for being here, Kieran. Is that better on the mic? Are we good now?
We're good. Let's do it.
Perfect. So I guess we're here to talk about the long-awaited land sale, and who better to talk about land than the main man himself, Kieran. So Kieran, we wanted to do a little icebreaker before we started with talking about land. And I guess, have you seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street?
Obviously, I've seen The Wolf of Wall Street. Have you seen the way that I
am? Exactly. So I'm just gonna play this clip real quick.
Sell me this pen.
So in that context, Kieran, I would like you to sell me this land.
This is going to be your residual income for the next 20 years. Are you prepared to miss out on that?
I'm not. Are you guys prepared to miss out on that?
Residual income for 20 years. All you need to do is buy a single plot and you'll get revenue from Illuvium forever.
Wow.
That sounds pretty good.
That's a good elevator pitch. 15 seconds right there. So I guess for those people that maybe a little context of what this land sale will be and why people should, other than it's going to provide revenue distribution, why should people invest in the land?
So, I mean, it is an investment, right? Like it's a game that I'm not going to sit here, and I mean, Johnny might kill me for saying this, but for me personally, it's not a game that I'm going to get addicted to, that I'm sitting there playing for 10, 15 hours a day, and like I'm screw my family, screw anything, like this is all I care about. But and which is why I'm saying it really is an investment, right? And I'm okay with that because there's only going to be 100,000 potential investors out there. Maybe some people fractionalize the NFT and have combined ownership and whatever, but there's only going to be 100,000 people. Now, when you compare that to the Illuvium main game, we're looking to get 10, 15, 20 million players. And I think there is a distinction between the person that's looking to own land. They're probably the type of person that understands that gaming is a huge thing in crypto that is going to explode, but they're not necessarily willing to put their time in themselves. And so they're probably guys that have a bunch of money that are looking for passive income streams that they can get out of crypto. And they realize if Illuvium does what we're saying we're going to do, and that there are 10 million players that are consuming the stuff that you can only generate off this land, they know that, supply and demand, if it's there, they're going to be making that revenue. So, I think it's important to make that distinction of who is actually going to be investing in this land.
Awesome, man. Thank you for that. And it goes back to the sell me this pen. It's all about supply and demand. And I think a lot of investors will be interested because they understand what Illuvium is trying to do. And they'll understand that there's going to be high demand for these lands, especially seeing what goes around nowadays in these land sales, these botched land sales, or these land sales that you could just stare at, but you can't actually make revenues with them unless you're flipping them, right? But
no. You will be able to in the future. Like there's huge plans for what we're building in the future. Like it's gonna be the greatest and craziest income stream that you'll ever see. I can't give you like specific details of what it's going to be, but you just got to promise me it's going to be absolutely outrageous what these people build with the money that you're fronting them. I promise you.
Yeah, ridiculous. That's it. And it's like a fronting thing, you know. Like we have to like front for whatever it is when whatever it is, it's gonna happen. And
But
yeah,
the best part about that is it's not people coming to you who have 20 years gaming experience that are doing this. It's literally people that people that are in crypto, they might like gaming, that kind of thing, and they've just decided, hey, I'm going to build a game, right? And I know because I'm the exact same, right? I had no experience building a game, but what I had to do is go and find the people that could build the game. And we did that very, very quickly. And that's until we had put together a really, really solid team that I genuinely think can build a AAA game, there wasn't even the conversation of land, right? And I think that's part of the problem is you don't even, it's not even that you're fronting really good teams, and there's also that risk of like, okay, like, but they've got XYZ credentials that are going to say they're going to actually deliver this. You've just literally got a whole bunch of marketing, and they're just out there saying, you know, we've never built a game before, but we're going to do it. And it's like, okay, how big's your team? How many game designers do you have? How many engineers do you have? How many people do you have in your graphics? About like, we have 110 people who are artists alone. And I see and I hear these teams come out and they're like, yeah, we're going to do it. Just give us that 200 mil and we'll just get right onto it. But people buy into it. Like, it's fucking crazy. But here we are, you know, it's welcome to crypto.
welcome to crypto. Yeah, but you understand because you also had like Grant, you know. So he said like, yeah, like me, like I had nothing, but you also had like Grant, you know, that you have that huge back wall in there that you know he can just generate some brutal stuff.
Absolutely. Hence why, like, when you've got Grant sitting over there saying, dude, this is a conversation to Aaron, right? He's sitting there and he's like, if you don't, sorry, sometimes my Siri thinks I'm talking to it. They were sitting there and he's like, dude, I'm not putting my 22 years of professional CGI experience. The guy's like top 10 in the world at modeling. And he's sitting there and he's like, I'm not going and building out this AAA graphics if you don't deliver on the game. Like, I will literally kill you if you do that. Like, if we go out. And so I'm watching these two, and I know that Aaron's gonna deliver, like, and he did. Like, within the first 2 weeks, we had this crazy game design document. And so I'm sitting there, and my job is to just keep on piling the smart people into a room, right? Like, just keep them piling in, and they'll keep on producing and producing. And I watched, but by the time we got to like 20 to 30 people in the team, we already had a core team where I was confident enough to start going out and saying like, yeah, this is what we built. We were literally showing it as we go. We weren't saying like ever at any stage, no, we'll build it and we'll show you later. It was always transparent, but I knew we were going to be able to deliver at that early stage because we'd grown to double the typical size of a crypto studio in the space of like 6 weeks, because that's just what you have to do to actually be able to deliver the game. So, you know, it wasn't hard to have that confidence, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I think draws investors the most to Illuvium is that you exhibit this confidence when you're speaking of the team and when you're speaking of what's being built. And I think it's just because you know you've hired and you have the right people behind the scenes doing the appropriate things to get actually a AAA game and do with the money what you're actually promising, versus like a lot of these games that are just taking money and they're saying, I promise I will learn once you give me the money, and I will hire the right people once you give me the money, but I'm not there yet. So give me the money and I'll deliver.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, right, like, I get frustrated in the business sense, right? Like, when people are saying, hey, we're going to create, you know, this massive thing, and you can just see right through it from a business sense. Grant, he gets hit even harder when teams are going out and selling $100 million of NFTs based on concept art in sci-fi, which is like his be all and end all. The dude can spend like 6 months building a single ship and like absolutely loves it. And then he's coming out and he's seeing, like these 4 or 5 games that are out there, like, yeah, we're launching 2023. And it's like, what? Like that? No, like it's just insane, right? Like, and so I feel for him. And then, like it's not easy to build these things. And I think even what we've done in such a short amount of time is not really reality in traditional studios. Like it's been a blitz of hiring and delivering, and our team is just like, there's so many weird, unique things that have happened, and there's so much luck involved as well, that it's just the perfect storm of being able to deliver these things. But we know that. We're sitting here going, we know how lucky we were to have Kane to Kickstarter so we could get $5 million in funding, and then eventually $50 million in funding from the community. Like we know all of these things have been crazily lucky, like picking up Alex Belbari, one of the best animators in the world, picking up Roger early on, one of the best concept artists in the world. Like that was lucky. And yes, you can say you have to be there to be able to actually deliver those things. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of luck involved, but there is also a lot of skill involved. So we look at these things and it's like, yeah, maybe maybe you can do it, but like, again, good luck, because it's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, man, that is insane. I try to tell people, I mean, obviously we don't give financial advice. We have to hit that disclaimer, but I try to tell people like, hey man, like Illuvium is building this whole ecosystem that financially makes sense and is being built on a solid foundation. It's not being promises of something in the future, and yet you still don't want to look at what they're doing. You still are hesitant, and you're looking at what they're producing in the in land, what they're producing in the AAA main game, and everything else with the tokenomics, and you still think that buying a PFP land is better. So I'm like always mind blown, and I try to help people understand what Illuvium's trying to build here. So that definitely resonates with us.
I will say one thing though, right? Like it's all well and good to sit there and be like, how come all of you crypto degen investors aren't buying into our grand vision of 3-4 years? I've said it publicly. I've said it in our Discord. This situation, we were meant to deliver the game in November, right? So it's not just, we're not perfectly on schedule here, right? Like we are delayed. Now, any delays in crypto are frustrating and annoying to your typical day trader. And I said it. I was like, to be honest, I probably would have jumped out, right? Now I'm a co-founder of this project, and I'm literally sitting here and I'm like, if I take my Illuvium hat off and I put on my degen investor, like what was I like in that 2020 6-month period where I just went all in, invested in 100 different projects? There were examples of my own investments where I knew they were going to produce something amazing, and they would delay it, and they were still being fairly transparent and saying, this is our whip, we're working on it. And there were times where I just rage quit. I was just like, nah, I need my money now, right? I want my investment to actualize now. So I fully get that people are like, you know what, screw Illuvium, like it's never going to launch. Like I fully get that. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you're right? Like I'm wrong. I was wrong in having that mentality, and it's very short-sighted. The people that zoom out, they're the really, really good investors in this space. So like, as much as I say, like, how the hell can you not see it? It's at the same time, I fully get it, right?
Definitely. And with that, I think we can transition to our next question.
So yeah, and what is going to be your strategy for land? It's like, what is it on the second? We're like days away.
God, I
Days
can't wait
away.
until I
No,
cannot wait until revenue distributions start, and that is an actual thing. Like, you have no idea how long I've been waiting for this to happen. But in terms of my strategy, I'm gonna go for a whole bunch of tier ones. I really like the idea of blueprints. I think that people are sleeping on the fact that if you find these blueprints, there's probably only going to be like 1,000 in the first set of them. And so if you pick one of these up and you're the one who's able to produce the atlas, like look at the baby atlas in your background. Like, if you've got armor, can you imagine? You guys are playing the beta. Can you imagine if someone just popped up with a blue atlas armor? You'd be like, the fuck is that? Give me that. Right? Like, right. And so I think people are sleeping on that, and there's no benefit for tier 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s to actually for your singularity scanner to work better. So for me, I think there's a strategy there to be able to pick up a whole bunch of the cheaper plots, even though there's not going to be as much fuel production on them. I want to have a big network where I'm scanning as many alluvials that come past my land as possible in as many regions as possible. And I almost want to set up the first Illuvium skin factory. And I want to have like 5 or 6 of those blueprints. And I think the only way that I'm going to be able to afford to do it is by going after a whole bunch of tier ones. Having said that, I'll probably go like 60 to 70% in tier ones, and then the rest of my spread will be across the other tiers, except for obviously tier 5.
I got a little follow on there. So like, as we know, like when every set of illuvials it's over, so will the bio data scanning too. So once we go to set 2, there is no
That's
more
it.
scanning of those illuvials,
Ever.
right? Oh crap!
100%. Yep. Because
So-
it works based on you've got land inside of Illuvium, and so you've got alluvials that are traversing across your land. If once that set is done, it's going to be a new set of alluvials that are traversing over your land. So yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. Like, you get like
I
5. Yeah. There you go.
So yeah, if you only find one of those blueprints or 2 of those blueprints, let's say, because there's very few people at the beginning, that's it. It might be just 1 or 2 blueprints of an atlas,
That's
ship
it.
or whatever.
But then think about this. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, no, that would be just for Gen 0, and every gen will be the same situation. I did not think of that. Wow.
Yeah, and think about this is the cool part about it, right? Like the real world economy. Think about if you've got this factory there and you're the only one who's got the Atlas armor, and then all of a sudden, right, like we're just about to have a set change and someone else discovers that blueprint. You're sitting on this monopoly where no one else, like, if you want that armor, you got to knock on the guy's door and say, hey, can you please craft that armor for me? Like, that's literally the situation. Then all of a sudden you hear some news story, man finds blueprint, Atlas blueprint over in Crimson Waste or whatever. And you've got this situation where now you're like, okay, for in perpetuity, this guy has the ability to sell these things. I'm going to have to make him an offer. Right. And then he knows that you're the only other person that has that blueprint. He knows that you've built a website for this, so people can start putting in like submissions saying like, can you craft me one? Here's my wallet address. They start building like literal businesses for this. And then all of a sudden one guy comes out, and let's just say it's a whale. Let's just say it's a whale like me, for example, and I want to troll the person. and I start flooding the market with free Atlas armaments. Think of the possibilities, right? There's anything, and then that guy's going to be like, I hate you. Why would you do that? And then it's like, okay, well, you could offer me some memeable amount of money, maybe $1 million, and I'll give you your monopoly back. But otherwise, I'm not only going to cash in myself, I'm going to sit here trolling you by giving them away for free.
That's brutal.
That sounds like a
Right.
very, very Kieran thing to do. So Kieran, just text me once you buy a couple of tier ones. Just let me know the coordinates so I could just park one next to you in case you ever want to do a mega city. You have to buy it from me. Just trying to.
And you'll give me a good deal, right?
Yeah. It's a memeable amount of
a memeable deal.
That's one of the things I like love about Illuvium Zero, because it also shows part of like the grand vision that you guys have showed, right? Because it's our own metaverse. It's like, even if you say, yeah, it's a little mini game, it's a little city building game, but it started the build up of a metaverse of two separate games that are in relation with each other. So no matter how small it is, it's actually already proof of what that grand vision is going to be.
100%. Yeah.
What I find interesting with all these the games, especially with Illuvium, is the creation of all these different economies that is going to occur, right? So you have a marketplace that will probably occur when the overworld launches and people start catching the Illuvials. That creates a market. Then you have to burn them to evolve them. That makes it more scarce, making them more valuable. Then you have fuel, and there's only a limited amount of plots, make them more valuable, and then everyone needs the fuel. So and now with blueprints, you just open this entire like dimension of possibilities with that.
I 100%. I echo that. I love the fact that we've gone to an economy that is interoperable between different games. That agency that it gives landowners is so it makes it so much more exciting, to the point where, like, I said to Aaron, I was like, and he agrees with me. He's like, let market forces work out what the price is of travel, the price of curing shards, the price of fusing, the price of crafting. Like, let it be a true real world economy. Now, I mean, when we first pitched this, people didn't even realize that it would have a bearing on the in-game prices. So it's probably a good thing that we kept the rails where it can't blow out to more than 25% either way from the price that we set. But honestly, I don't think it's going to go anywhere near 25% anyway, right? If we have enough players and we have enough demand for all of these different fuels, it's going to become a ridiculously big hedging game alone, right? Like, that no one is talking about. Like, you're not going to see a situation where it blows out to a point where no one is selling you fuel and all of a sudden you can't travel anymore, or it's like $3,000 to travel to a region, because you've got the same situation on the other side, real human beings who are like, well, actually, I'll give you a travel for $2,999. You can take my fuel and then you'll get it cheaper. And then this guy goes, but I got heaps of fuel. And then the other guy over there goes, no, I got heaps of fuel. And it creates market forces that don't allow things to go too crazy. Or if they do, it's because there isn't as much there isn't as much demand on a certain thing, and that's cool. And then that gets very, very interesting, right? If we work out that there's, and obviously we do want to balance these, right? Like, we want the fuels to be as balanced as possible, but it's probably not going to happen. We're going to have one function in the game where more fuel is required, and then those landowners are like, God damn it, I didn't get the fuel site that is the most sought after. So you've got so many variables here which create a financial game, right? Which is my, like, that's what I love, right? Like being able to sit in this world and see that happening. So yeah, you're right, man. There's just, I don't even think people realize how many different ways there are to have fun in Illuvium.
Yeah, and it's going to be very fun, but it also is going to provide a lot of revenue streams. And I think you just like Javier said, you open the door for the blueprint epidemic right now. Like people are probably listening, or they'll watch the recorded
reruns.
version, and they'll be like, "Oh shit! Like Kieran is talking about blueprints. I didn't even realize that." And I think also, just to clarify, the blueprints will be the only thing that you'll be able to monetize before the main game launches, because everything will be wiped. Is that correct? So you'll be able to store your blueprints since you buy your land and are playing the game.
Yeah, so I actually didn't even know about this, but Johnny wanted to have a little. It's kind of weird, right? Because it's sort of a little bit against our ethos of like everyone starts equal. So I don't know if that's why I wasn't sort of informed about this, but I'm also okay with it as well because it's accessible to everyone at the same time. And you know, you can buy a land plot. It is blueprints. We're talking about being able to craft skins for things, so it doesn't have any bearing on the actual in-game balancing. So I'm sort of okay with that, right? But yeah, you're right. There will be a way for you to capture these blueprints in alpha, and I believe that he's making them specific just to the alpha. So it's like almost like alpha blueprint sets, if you will, not so much like once we wipe them, the same ones will come onto the market again. It's like this little window of like a nod to the early adopters of Illuvium Zero.
Yeah, but that's awesome because you still give them, even if the game doesn't start, you still give utility to the land right off the bat.
100%. Yep.
Awesome. So I guess we can go to the next question.
So spreading world domination for Illuvium, one of the first steps would be to get it onto everyone's mobile device. When do you think Illuvium will be available for mobile? Will it be available from the get-go?
Let's clarify. Land. Illuvium land.
Yeah, land.
Illuvium Zero. He meant Illuvium Zero.
Yeah, Illuvium Zero land.
You just cost yourself some heavy alpha there. I was just about to go into the mobile release of Illuvium, and I do have news of that. But hey, I'm happy to talk about land.
No. Let's go.
I mean, you guys are running the AMA. It's not me. I'm fine.
Both. We got both. We got first Illuvium Zero and then Illuvium. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Sí, señor.
Yeah. So Illuvium Zero, the mobile game is that's going to be released at the same time as the desktop version. It's designed. We're building it in Unity. It's going to be available on the app stores, both of them, Android and Apple, and so that's been the plan all along for Illuvium Zero, which is absolutely critical because a big red flag that I have right now is the fact that Illuvium is only going to be desktop to start off with. And I don't think people are talking about that. Like there is a very, 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 very large portion of these gamers right now that are playing mobile-based play and earn games. We potentially, if we didn't have Illuvium Zero, then we wouldn't have any product for them until hopefully now we'll be looking at very early next year. I say very early, probably like Q1, Q2, but we're literally just in the process of engaging an outside mobile studio. So we've decided we've got so much to focus on, and it's such a big thing that we need to get started on immediately that we are going to go and find an external studio. It may potentially end up being brought internally. Well, I've got some thoughts around how we would do that, but we are definitely on the hunt right now to find a mobile development agency in Unreal that is like, we don't want to go with the big guys. Like we have this thing where we like finding the teams that sort of don't really know how good they are yet, and then working with them and being the first big thing that like when I say big thing, like I mean like big thing that they produce. And so that's sort of what we're looking for. And these conversations literally started this week.
Q1, Q2, 2023. You heard it here. Damn.
Yeah.
Literally.
There you go.
Literally.
So that's for the main game, right?
Yes.
And Illuvium 0 should be available pretty soon.
Illuvium 0 should be available 3 or 4 weeks after the main game. It's like I'm playing the alpha now. It's pretty cool. Again, I'm not like massive on it, but I will be once the economy starts. Like once I can start going, okay, when do I sell my fuel? What's the best time? And I start thinking about the advantages there, then I'll get really excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Because I think obviously we're from Hispanic countries, and we're trying to grow the education on financial literacy, and especially people trying to get into Illuvium to bridge that gap between different languages. But in Latin American countries, it's very common that people play games on their phone. So I think in order to go like mainstream and go global and grow the economy the way that Illuvium I think is intended, I think mobile will be big because a lot of people that have lesser wealth will be able to play the game, because the game is insane. Like I've been playing the beta and it's so fun, right? But I wish I could also be in my bed and play it, right? I don't have to be in front of my desktop. Or Illuvium 0, definitely I think that people will be able to build economies for themselves by playing or renting land. So I guess with that question, we have our next question was, it seemed like the team was previously against land lending or renting, or maybe just the
Team Aaron.
the wording of scholarships and stuff like that. What changed? Because it seems like now it's going to be available to people. This is also something big, being able to buy a bunch of land and then lending it out so that people can farm for you. I think a lot of economies are going to be built here. So what are just give us your take.
So I don't really mind, right? I've always been okay with the fact that Aaron is so vehemently against scholarships, and I honestly think it just comes down to the way that they define them. A scholar is not what these people are, right? By definition, it is literally wrong, and anything by definition that is wrong really pisses Aaron off, right? He just and like me too, to be honest, right? Like, but at the same time, I think the actual having someone playing your game, and also the fact that deep down he knows that they're not having fun playing these games, he finds it like it's not a scholarship, it's like a work, it's almost like it's labor, right? Like it's actual labor. And so for us, we just didn't like, playing games should not be laborious, right? Like at its core, that concept just fucks with us, right? Like it's just like, no, that's not the way that it's meant to be. When we started looking at it and I said, look, right, that it has a function here, right? Like taking away the fact that it's getting people to do labor for a very minimal amount of money, like take that away. It's also providing opportunity for these people, right? Like as much as it doesn't sit right with you, it is giving them an opportunity. And as long as they're having fun at the same time, and I think as long as you build a system that allows that person to eventually grow out of being under you, where you have to constantly facilitate it, then it makes sense. And so what I mean by that is, if we're giving a loan to someone who says, hey, I really like this game, goes to a lending platform and says, okay, they're going to lend me either alluvials or fuel so I can go into the game, and then I will work to pay that back. Once I've paid that back, I'm out, right? Like the payback period's done. I paid my loan off. Now I've already got alluvials. I'm making money in the overworld. I'm capturing other ones. I'm battling. I'm wagering. I'm on my, like that is a process of building someone up and getting them to a point where they can have financial freedom themselves. The systems that were in place, back 12, 18 months ago, that we just didn't feel like they were setting up these people to succeed in the long run. It was almost like, this is a business that we've created, and we want you to continue being a scholar because you pay us 30% forever, right? Like they don't want you to graduate, if you will, because they're losing their revenue generator, right? They don't want to be out there playing the games. And so we looked at it and we want to say, let's not do that, right? If the goal is to get these people playing on their own 2 feet with their own money, let's build a system that allows them to do that. And so that's what our lending platform is going to be about.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful, because before I entered Illuvium, I was creating content for Axie Infinity, and I had a bunch of scholars, right? Like, but I was, like, not to toot my horn, but like I was actually teaching them stuff. I was teaching them Excel, how to document their SLP production, and I think I was trying to share the wealth. And I think a couple of my guys eventually found jobs as community managers, or found jobs that they were using their Excel skills, and they even bought their own teams, right? So I was helping them. And I think Illuvium has thought that process out, where, for example, you could pay somebody in fuel, and then they could use that fuel to play in the main game and then try to capture alluvials, and they can resell on the secondary market. Or you can sell them a portion of the blueprints that they find, or pay them. And then they could generate their own revenue stream from this, and then invest that own revenue stream, because the main game is going to be relatively cheap in comparison of what's being produced in land. So like they're going to be tied together. So I think, it needs to be fair. It needs to be, controlled to a certain point where we're not exploiting these people that are farmers, right? But I think Illuvium has done a great job of building an economy that can help people actually come from the bottom and actually start building themselves up. So
absolutely, 100%. Yeah. And I think that the key difference there is, we don't want the people that are playing in Illuvium in developing countries to be working for someone. We want them working for themselves. And it's the exact same system that you can set up in terms of, they need something that they don't have, and either a platform can provide it to them under the basis that you're going to give us a 10% premium on top because there was a loan or whatever, and you're in debt to a platform, right? Like it's not an employee worker relationship where at some point they deem you okay to go off on your own, and both systems can build up that person, but one is certainly going to be a lot more autonomous and give them a lot more power over, like, okay, I'm making decisions for myself now. Like, I got loaned this money, so I need to work out, is it a good decision to sell this fuel now? Is it a good decision to sell this blueprint now? Not my employee is allowing me to sell my fuel and my blueprints. You know what I mean? It's just a bit of a psychological difference.
I mean, it's powerful. That's some powerful stuff, man. And because you have no idea what like people do in like real poor countries for like nothing. So, and that way of, as you say, I because we don't really know how it's gonna roll out until you guys roll it out, right? But yeah, it's get the opportunity to get their own assets, as you say, just like a loan and for themselves. I think it's just explosive, and that's very well thought out.
No,
Are you
Yeah.
guys all in different countries?
Yes.
Yep.
I'm gonna try and guess where you guys are all from at the end of this.
All right.
Love it,
I
man.
have a bit of an idea, but we'll keep going.
Okay, so that's something that I find it interesting because the play and earn concept, the first time I came across it was through Illuvium. Because before you had to actually buy your team and do everything. With Illuvium, you can actually capture your Illuvials. And now we were talking about blueprints, fuel, and how we get it from the land. Where will emotes come from? Would they come from the land?
Not from the land. So there's a couple of ways. So it'll come from the Illuvium overworld. So it's all about crafting. That's why you see all the 28 trillion plants that Grant refused to have less than. That's what you're doing there. So all of that harvesting and stuff like that is for crafting different skins and emotes. But on top of that as well, we do have plans to sell like limited release ones that are literally just we'll just drop them on the marketplace. Aaron's spoken about that, and it's a very traditional model. I don't know necessarily if I love that idea, but it certainly does make sense. Like if we create a full set of limited edition emotes that we want to put out there very, very quickly, it's just an easy way to sell it. Again, in a typical situation, like what I'm saying right now is, hey, we want to be Fortnite and centralized, which every viewer should be sitting there like, what the fuck is he saying? Get the hell away from me. But the difference is with Illuvium, it doesn't go to me, it doesn't go to Aaron, it doesn't go to a centralized entity. 100% of those revenues from the skins would be distributed back to the people that are staked in the protocol, which is all of us.
The DAO.
You.
Mm-hmm.
Tolkien himself.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. So Toki.
Yeah, it's been heated up a little bit. I saw you like, oof, I had to read like for 2 hours today, like the IFP channel. So you know that there is like, and it ties up with this big event, the land sale, that there's gonna be a huge chunk of ETH probably that comes in. What do you think about what's been proposed by the Raji about that like long release of that Reptis? Want to know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I think we do need to. I've been saying this for a long time. We do need to distribute it over a long period of time. The problem is that time, it's very hard to set that time now because the variable is we don't know what the revenue is going to be from this. So if we go out and we don't know the split of SRV2 to ETH, everyone is speculating on that. And I'm sitting there and it's like, okay, if we write an IIP now and we say, okay, let's do it over 6 months, and then we go and generate $4 because no one buys any land, we're going to be like, yay, let's distribute $4 over 6 months. Like it's fucking idiotic, right? So now it might be something absolutely, utterly out of this world. We have 200,000 people that have registered to buy 20,000 plots. Might be that we generate 300 million. And then at that point, it's like, well, we probably need to distribute it over a longer period of time, or maybe even think about a totally different thing, which is, I don't know, keeps, instead of doing a capital raise where we're going to use a whole bunch of tokens, maybe we say, hey, we just got all of this revenue. It's clearly way, way more revenue than, we ever thought. Let's not burn the tokens from the treasury for this capital raise. And let's actually use that, a portion of that for the mobile development, which we're going to do anyway, right? So there's so many different variables that are spinning around, and this is, I guess, some of my frustration, and I get it, right? I get the perspective of community members and even council members to a certain extent. you don't have direct access to the team. So there are so many different things that you don't see. And like I haven't said this to anyone about the capital raise, but that's a thing that's in my head. And it's like, no one else has that context. And if I explained it to people and said, well, look, do you want to, like, this is all our business, right? Like, this is all our decision. Do you want to go and burn some tokens out of the treasury, potentially at a $250 price because the market's just become fucked? Or do you want to go, actually, we know we need that money. Let's not waste those tokens now. Let's give the DAO 20 million of that revenue, and we'll keep the 280 million for revenue distributions. That way, when we do the capital raise after everything is launched, when we're thinking about gearing up to have, you know, the runway for 10 years of building games, that will then be at a price of $1,250 a token, let's say, and then the treasury is 4 or 5 times better off for a tiny percentage of sacrifice of rev divs, and no one in the entire DAO, like not even some people in my team know this, because it's just sitting in my head, right? And so I see all these comments and like proposals and stuff like that, and I'm kind of just like, let us just get the full context before we make decisions like that.
Yeah, I
totally
think
agree.
that's very important, and it seems like the team is open and it has it in the back of their mind, which is important to know. Thank you for providing that to us. But it seems like, you know, we'll get there when we get there, right? So like once we see how many millions we have in the vault, like we'll be able to make a decision based on the council will come together. They'll probably be reading a lot of proposals at that point, and then a decision will be made. So it seems like we're getting close to the hour mark. So we have one more question, and then we have the fun questions to allow you to try and guess where we're from. Has there been any marketing? Has there been any marketing or sales strategies to get big brands, i.e. Coinbase, Crypto.com, all these type of companies that could potentially buy a tier 5 that you can disclose, obviously?
Not that I can disclose, but let me just say, and I mean, it's kind of not really it wouldn't even really be like a leak or whatever, because it's kind of out of our range, right? These tier 5. So I don't think people are like, oh, why can't I buy them? I think it's literally everyone sitting there wanting to see like the highest price possible that we can get for these things. I think that's kind of the community sentiment. But yeah, we've had conversations with probably 10 to 15 parties now that are genuinely interested at that, you know, million plus mark. Like they've got it. Now, again, this was conversations that I had that I've been having over the last 6 months with VCs, with guilds, with big platforms and brands, and also big exchanges as well. Now, I don't know, have these exchanges gone, okay, like I would assume the first thing that they're gonna remove from their expenditure is probably going to be placements in NFT projects and PFP projects, if they're spending anything right at this time. So again, I don't want to set expectations that things are going to be crazy. If you asked me 3 months ago, I would have said these things will go for $5 million. Now, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough time. I think the bear market, I mean, it's pretty evident. It's kind of fucking up everyone's plans, but yeah, it's good to know that you know, there is conversations happening, and I'm sure that you're doing a great job at selling those tier 5s for people that can actually afford it and show them off. So I guess, Kieran, we have a funny question for you. Do you want to ask us first, or try to guess first, or do you want to do it after?
No, that's fine, because firstly, South American, right? Or are we in Latin America as well, or is it both?
So Toki is central.
Okay.
Ooh, that made it hard.
And
Okay.
Javi, like I live in Texas, right? So I'll let you guess. Javi and I are from the same country.
Okay.
And it's
I was
Yeah, what do you-
actually thinking Ecuador for Tolkien, so that's wrong.
I lived in a lot of countries in South America, though, so with my big accent, I'm not Ecuador, though, close, but not there. Not all of that.
Are you gonna say?
No,
Mexico?
keep guessing. I like. Oh no,
No.
no.
Make it so hard on him.
I
Man.
was about to make a
Okay,
wager.
okay.
I was about to like
Okay.
5 tries.
Okay, what about all right, so what about Argentina? Anyone from Argentina?
No.
No.
Okay, this is going bad. This
We're-
is going bad. Give me a clue.
Javier and I are from a colony.
Okay.
You know any
Dude,
modern day colonies?
Dude,
They're islanders. They're islanders.
Island. It's an
Island.
island.
an island.
Island
in the
boy.
Caribbean.
Island boy.
I'm an island boy.
I've got no idea now. I'm gonna butcher. All right, tell me, where are you guys from?
Okay, so you know the channel is called En Arroz y Habichuelas, which means in rice and beans. It's a term to explain things in layman terms. Have you heard of layman terms? So that's originally from Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, if you start talking about something complex to somebody, they'll be like, dude, slow it down. Come on, give it to me en arroz y habichuelas. So that's where Javi and I are from. We're from Puerto Rico, but I live in Texas. And then Toki is somewhere in Central America. He has like 10 passports, man. So I don't really know where he's from. He obviously has a fake name.
We gotta guess. We gotta guess this.
Okay, I got two passports. If you guess one of them, both of them are from Latin America. So if you guess one of them, I'll give it to you.
Wait. I'm gonna go for. I mean, like, it's tough if you've been to all those countries.
Yeah,
I'm
my accent
thinking
is
either-
impossible to guess. Well, it's English right now, but.
I'm thinking Costa Rica.
Oof! Whoa! You close. I'll give you that. Nicaragua, right up there.
Fuck.
You're there. I'm impressed.
My next guess was Panama. But
No.
We're close. There are a lot of countries.
It's just a lot of Spanish-speaking countries.
So, yeah, that's great.
I was close. What was I like? 3 countries off with Mexico, and then 1 country off with Puerto Rico. So,
have you been to Puerto Rico? Do you like? Are you familiar with Puerto Rico?
You were in Mexico not long ago, right?
I love South America. That's my
South America is awesome.
Heaven for me. Brazil, Argentina, Ecuador. I've been to
Peru. I recommend Peru, man. Peru.
I've been to Peru.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
Mhm.
I've been to Chile. Get
oh,
this.
that's my second passport.
I was gonna say Chile at the start. But, so you know the Santiago Zoo.
Yeah, of course.
You know how they have a hippo in there?
Yeah.
I touched that hippo. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. It's on video. I would never share that video because I love animals, and it was probably the stupidest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. But I'm quite familiar with the hippo in Santiago Zoo.
So you're a degen in real life too?
That's it.
So that will come up with the next question then. That titles up onto our last question.
Yeah, what do we got? What the fuck is this thing? Why do I keep seeing Illuvisexual? What is it? Like, is this?
Because we're everywhere, bro. So this is a term that I came up with, and we've been trying to coin it, and it's like somebody that loves Illuvium and believes in the long-term growth of Illuvium. So when you have a preference of something, right? And we also call each other Ethersexuals. I don't know if you catch that joke. Ethersexuals?
I get it. It's terrible. I suggest you come up with a new name. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm just like, is this like how to block people from joining Illuvium is when I see Illuvisexual, I'm just like, no, I didn't know.
Oh man, Raha, the
No.
same thing. Raha, what the hell is that dumb crazy? I mean, like that's what you give a bunch of like digital Latin Americans, man. That's what we come up with. Sorry,
Yeah, man, we're passionate and we love Illuvium, and we just want people to be passionate too, and 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 demonstrate their love without actually being in a guild or something. This is like for everyone. This is like for every language, every guild.
What's the Puerto Rican translation on that?
Illuvisexual. Illuvisexual.
Still not getting better. I thought maybe it's like
Spanish not that bad.
Illuviosexual.
No, and Walter, like we did with Vedmore, but you've clearly been to a lot of like countries in Latin America. So if I would ask you like come up with some Spanish right now, what would be it? Even a word.
I mean, I like hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien, but I was just about to go. I've got this. I used to live with. This is a long time. Actually, crazily enough, I used to live with 4 Ecuadorians back in. Would have been 2000 and like 2 or something. Like I'm talking like half a lifetime ago, and it was actually right near the permissionless place that I was staying. They taught me how to say a whole bunch of very, very, very bad words. And for some reason, I ended up putting all of these bad words together in a spiel, and I can say it really, really fast. I'm definitely not going to say it on air. But yeah, so I was literally about to say, oh, you want some Spanish? I'll give you some Spanish. but no, I'm not going to do that. No.
Well, so we're up on the hour now, and man, it's been like an absolute pleasure, man. It's like I've heard from other people like what do they like about Illuvium most too, and a lot of answers have also been like freaking the energy that you guys bring into the project, and it's just like there is at some point in absolutely every investment you make, there's an ounce of trust that you have to, a leap that you have to take, man, and you especially been like the face that are out there here all the time. Man, you do a fantastic job, and like we're like me, I'm excited. I'm excited like as hell to see what the hell it's gonna happen. I know it's only good things that are gonna happen out of this, and as you said, it's like a multi-layer monster. You don't know where it's gonna go. It could go to like infinite ways it can grow, it can go, and I'm extremely excited to see it and to be a part of it.
And look, I can't thank you guys enough. Like I know you guys have been supporters from the early days, and I truly do think about this stuff. Like throughout my day, I think like Jesus Christ, like the fact that we have so many people that are even starting content creation for the first time with Illuvium. Like I think you hear, I started my journey streaming World of Warcraft back 20 years. Like that's what is happening here now. And honestly, it's just crazy to see. And honestly, like we cannot thank you enough. Like doesn't matter how small or how large content creators are. If you're spending your time to help grow our community and our game, I cannot thank you enough for that. Like I truly, truly appreciate that. And we always want to try and give back to the content creators like yourselves. So again, I'm happy to come on whenever you want to have me back. I know I'm a little bit of a handful sometimes.
No, but, whenever you want to say that whole sentence, whenever you're ready for that, we'll be here. I'm curious now.
Yeah.
Next time.
And like Javi up there, I know he knows you're the King Lizard. He's another like ETH Lizard DJ.
Oh yeah. I have a good amount of ETH Lizards, and I got Julio. I got Julio to join us as well.
I got one, yeah. So
that's very smart. Don't buy too many. We got to share the love of the lizards.
Can't get me, baby. I only got Illuvium. I'm like an Illuvium DJ. That's it.
Yeah.
Until
I'll
it
get
flies
you.
off, I'll talk to you guys. Might see you there, like mobile release. There you go. That's where I'll start branching out.
Give me 6 weeks. You'll have a lizard. 6 weeks, you'll have a lizard.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Toki.
damn.
Wait, did I
No,
say I had one? I think
that's some good
think I lost
product
mine.
that's coming up right now. Some good product that's coming
No,
up.
no.
Right.
He's gonna be seeing. He's gonna be
Yeah.
seeing the roadmap and what they're delivering, and he's gonna buy it himself.
yeah.
Hell
Of course.
yeah.
Right.
But
All right.
So yeah, Kieran, it's been an absolute pleasure. We appreciate you being here. We know we are a growing channel, and you taking the time to be here and talk to the community is really appreciated on our end. So thank you so much for being here. And man, yeah, we're looking forward to the next one where you carve out some time for us. So really appreciate you being here. And I guess if nothing, do you have anything else to say before we head out?
no, that's it. Thank you, Julio. Thanks, Astro, and thank you, Toki. Appreciate it.
Okay, so
See you
we'll be
guys.
seeing you guys in the next one. Illuvium for all. Take care, guys. See you next time.
Peace out.